I have here a basic popper, and I have cut some pilot holes to attach screws so that we can tie the popper on our line and add some treble hooks. Now let's show you what that looks like from the inside. These are what the pilot holes look like. It's common to design a lure and print something like this and then realize you have something in the wrong dimension. And it's easy enough to change in FreeCAD. So let's go and hit the pilot holes here, which is a fusion of 3 cylinders. Let's in fact turn off the fusion and just bring the cylinders back. There, or the cut and bring the cylinders back. So there's the cylinders there. Now the problem is my cylinders are a little bit too wide. So if I go to the cylinder and I look at the radius, I've got it set at 1.6 millimeters. I want to try printing this at 1.4 millimeters. The problem is I've got 3 of them. This is kind of a pain, and there's a better way of doing this. So let me introduce you to a Varset. Varset is a way to create common settings that you're going to use over and over again when you are modeling. So let's bring back this view here so we can see easily. And let's create our first Varset. You're going to come up here on the menu to this little brackets icon and create a variable set. First thing you need here is a name for a property, and we will call this pilot hole diameter. And the type is important here, and we're going to highlight all this, delete it, and write float. And float just means that it's a decimal number that can have, you know, an integer number and a portion. And let's make this 1.4. If I hit the OK button, we now have this Varset in our model. And if I select it, we can see the properties. And we can change the properties just by coming in here and changing them to whatever we want, like 2. So let's go back to our cylinders and apply this variable to our cylinder radiuses. If I come here on the cylinder and I click the radius and I click on this little FX icon, that allows me to enter an expression. And in this expression, I'm going to type Varset because that's the name of my Varset. And then a period, pilot hole diameter. Now that's a diameter and we're dealing with a radius. So I'm going to then divide it by 2. Okay? Now I'm going to perform that same operation on both these other cylinders by going in here, Varset.pilot hole diameter, divided by 2. In fact, I'm going to copy that so I can do it most easily on the third one and go to the third cylinder and make this same setting. Now all of my cylinders are the same size, but they're driven by this variable set. If I decided that my pilot hole diameter was the wrong size, I could come here and change it to something else. And let's just do something extreme so it's really obvious. Oops, I meant to click 5 and I clicked 500. Let's go 5. Now you can see how big those holes are. Or I could make this pilot hole very small, like 0.5 millimeters, and then they become very small. So that's a Varset. I often keep a few things in my Varset in my lure design files. And I'm going to show you a fast way to add more variables. So to add variables, you come over to the Varset here and double click on it. And I'm going to create something called a rig meet diameter. And I'll make that 4, but then I'm going to click this box that says add another and say OK, and it'll stay up, and I can create rig meet length and click OK. Or I actually have to put a value first. Let's say 13, say OK, and then maybe I'll say I diameter, and then come down here and make it 6.5 and say OK. And that's just a fast way to get them. Now I can cancel out here when I'm done, and here's all my values. Again, they're always changeable. And then you can tie them to any dimensions. You can tie them to the radius of a cylinder, the radius of a sphere, the length of a cube, or a dimension inside one of your sketches. That'll do it for this video. Check out some of the other videos on designing lures for 3D printing.